How many famous faces do you know who've gone under the knife, and how many later wished they hadn't? In Hollywood, youth isn't just admired, it's demanded. Every wrinkle, every flaw is magnified under unforgiving lights and high-definition cameras. What often starts as a simple touch-up, a small attempt to stay relevant, can quietly spiral into obsession, regret, and lifelong consequences. Today, we're diving into the stories of stars who chased perfection and ended up losing themselves along the way. Linda Evangelista wasn't just a successful model, she was the supermodel of the 1990s. Her face defined an era of fashion, elegance, and power. With more than 700 magazine covers to her name, Linda represented a level of beauty most people could only dream of. But behind the flawless images and runway confidence, a quiet tragedy was unfolding. In 2015, Linda made what she believed was a safe, non-invasive decision. She tried cool sculpting, a popular fat-freezing treatment marketed as quick, painless, and risk-free. Many celebrities were rumored to use it, and nothing suggested it could go wrong. But for Linda, it did horribly. Instead of shrinking, the treated areas began to harden and grow. Her chin, thighs, and chest slowly became distorted. Doctors later diagnosed her with paradoxical adipose hyperplasia, a rare side effect affecting less than 1% of patients. That tiny statistic completely changed her life. Her modeling career came to a sudden halt. Multiple corrective surgeries followed, but the damage couldn't be undone. The physical pain was overwhelming, but the emotional toll was even deeper. Ashamed of her appearance, Linda disappeared from public life, avoiding cameras, fashion events, and even close friends. The woman once known for her confidence now struggled to recognize herself in the mirror. Years later, Linda made a powerful return, not as a supermodel chasing perfection, but as a survivor telling the truth. By sharing her story, she transformed personal pain into a message of awareness, resilience, and self-acceptance, proving that real beauty isn't perfection, it's survival. In the 1970s and 1980s, Joan Van Ark was the face of primetime television. With her soft features, bright eyes, and natural warmth, she embodied the golden age of TV. As Valine Ewing on Knots Landing, she wasn't just popular, she was beloved. Her beauty felt effortless, the kind that didn't try too hard, the kind that aged gracefully on screen. But when the spotlight fades, time grows louder. As Hollywood's attention shifted and newer faces emerged, Joan became increasingly aware of every subtle change in her appearance. In the early 1990s, she chose to undergo a minor rhinoplasty. The results were barely noticeable, but the decision itself opened a door that would be hard to close. One procedure slowly became many. Facelifts, eyelid surgeries, Botox, chemical peels, each intended to erase another sign of aging. Instead, they erased something else. Her skin grew tight and pale, her expressions less fluid, her once lively face increasingly frozen. High-definition cameras, once her ally, now exposed every trace of overcorrection. By the 2000s, her transformation became a constant topic in tabloids. Headlines asked what had happened to Joan Van Ark. Though she denied going too far, the contrast was impossible to ignore. The warmth that once defined her on screen seemed buried beneath years of intervention. When she appeared at the Knots Landing 40th anniversary reunion, fans were stunned. The woman they remembered looked almost unrecognizable, her face stretched by a lifelong battle against time. Today, Joan lives more quietly, appearing only occasionally. Her story remains a powerful reminder that aging isn't something to defeat, and sometimes the bravest choice is letting go. For centuries, the House of Alba symbolized power, prestige, and old-world elegance in Spain. But no member of that legendary lineage captured public fascination quite like Cayetana Fitz-James Stuart, the 18th Duchess of Alba. With more than 40 noble titles and an unmistakable personality, she was a figure larger than life, wealthy, outspoken, and completely unapologetic. Yet even she couldn't escape time. As the years passed, the Duchess began a very personal battle with aging. In the 1980s, what started as subtle cosmetic procedures slowly turned into a long and public transformation. A nose job led to facelifts, fillers, and frequent Botox treatments, each promising to preserve youth just a little longer. But instead of restoring elegance, the changes gradually altered her aristocratic features. Her struggle became even more complicated when she was diagnosed with Melkerson-Rosenthal syndrome, a rare condition that causes chronic facial swelling. Hoping to hide its effects, she turned to even more surgery. Sadly, the interventions only intensified the damage. Her skin lost elasticity, her expressions became fixed, and the refined grace she once carried gave way to an unmistakably altered appearance. Still, the Duchess never bowed to public opinion. At 85, she shocked the world by marrying a man 24 years younger, proving she lived life entirely on her own terms. The wedding drew global attention not just for the romance, but for how dramatically she had changed. When the Duchess of Alba passed away in 2014, she left behind vast estates, an extraordinary legacy, and a lasting lesson. Her story reminds us that no amount of wealth or status can stop time, and that peace with oneself may be the rarest luxury of all. For decades, Goldie Hawn embodied pure joy on the silver screen. With her bright eyes, infectious laughter, and effortless charm, she felt timeless, like happiness personified. In the 1970s and 1980s, Goldie didn't just act youthful, she was youth. Her beauty was natural, unforced, and deeply human, making audiences feel like they were in on the joke with her. But Hollywood has never been kind to time. As the years passed and the industry's obsession with youth intensified, even someone as radiant as Goldie began to feel the pressure. In the early 2000s, she reportedly turned to cosmetic enhancements. At first, they were subtle: light Botox, gentle fillers, a modest facelift. Small adjustments meant to maintain, not transform. Over time, though, the balance shifted. By the mid-2010s, her face appeared tighter, fuller, and less expressive. When she stepped onto the Academy Awards red carpet, cameras captured a look that stunned fans. The spontaneity that once defined her seemed muted, replaced by a polished stillness. Experts speculated about overuse, while longtime admirers quietly wondered where that familiar spark had gone. When Goldie returned to film in Snatched, something felt different. Her expressions were restrained, her reactions softened, as if a layer had settled between her emotions and the audience. The woman once celebrated for her freedom and warmth now carried the weight of trying to preserve them. Today, Goldie Hawn lives far from that pressure. She focuses on family, her long partnership with Kurt Russell, and her foundation supporting children's mental health. Though time has changed her face, her spirit remains untouched proof that joy doesn't live in perfection, but in letting go. Toya Jackson was born into one of the most famous families on the planet, where talent, fame, and pressure existed side by side. As a member of the legendary Jackson family, she grew up under constant scrutiny, especially when compared to her younger brother, Michael. While the world watched him rise into superstardom, Toya struggled to carve out an identity of her own. In the 1980s, she found moderate success as a singer, actress, and television personality. For a time, she was seen as the more approachable, softer presence within the Jackson dynasty. But fame has a way of amplifying insecurities. Living in the shadow of perfection, Toya reportedly turned to cosmetic surgery in hopes of gaining confidence and control over her image. Her first rhinoplasty in the late 1980s drew immediate media attention. Soon, one procedure led to another: additional nose surgeries, facelifts, cheek implants, chin reshaping, and lip fillers. With each change, her appearance drifted further from what fans remembered. Her skin appeared tighter, her features sharper, and her once gentle expressions increasingly rigid. The tabloids were unforgiving. She was labeled a porcelain doll, and comparisons to Michael resurfaced, highlighting two siblings shaped by impossible standards. Beneath the headlines, however, was a woman struggling with self-identity, searching for acceptance in the mirror rather than within herself. Today, in her late 60s, LaToya lives a quieter, more private life. She appears occasionally in media and continues to honor her family's legacy. Her journey stands as a powerful reminder that fame can distort self-worth, and that the most difficult transformation is learning to accept who you are without changing your face. Before she became one of reality television's most recognizable faces, Lisa Rinna was simply a young woman chasing confidence in Hollywood. Like many others, she believed a small change could open bigger doors. At just 20 years old, inspired by the glamour she saw on screen, Lisa made a decision that would shape her public image for decades: permanent silicone lip injections. At first, it seemed like the perfect choice. Her full, pouty lips became her signature. They set her apart, made her instantly recognizable, and helped build a bold persona audiences came to love. For years, no one questioned it. But time has a way of revealing what cameras can't hide. As the decades passed, the silicone hardened. Painful lumps formed, and her once celebrated lips became uncomfortable and uneven. What started as a confidence boost slowly turned into a daily reminder of a decision she couldn't undo. After nearly 25 years, Lisa finally had the damaged tissue surgically removed. The procedure relieved the pain, but it couldn't fully restore what was lost. Even then, the cycle didn't stop. Fillers, Botox, and other cosmetic enhancements followed. Gradually, her features tightened, her expressions softened, and something natural began to fade. Fans noticed the stiffness, the subtle loss of spontaneity. Online criticism grew louder, and speculation followed her everywhere. Years later, Lisa did something rare in Hollywood. She told the truth. Admitting that some procedures weren't right for her, she chose to dissolve fillers and step back from chasing perfection. Today, Lisa Rinna's story isn't about vanity. It's about how easily self-improvement can cross into self-erasure, and how real confidence often begins the moment we stop trying to fix ourselves. Carol Bryan's story is a chilling reminder that you don't have to be a movie star to fall into Hollywood's beauty trap. Known to the public as a British socialite, Carol didn't seek fame through talent or performance. She gained attention through transformation. And once the spotlight found her, it was almost impossible to step away. It started innocently, like it does for so many people. A small cosmetic procedure meant to boost confidence, then another, and another. Each change promised to bring her closer to an ideal version of herself. But instead of satisfaction, the mirror kept asking for more. Facelifts, fillers, Botox, lip enhancements over time, the procedures piled up, blurring the line between enhancement and excess. Gradually, Carol's appearance became dramatically altered. Her features grew exaggerated, her skin stretched tight, her expressions frozen. What once felt like self-improvement turned into something she no longer recognized. The media was ruthless, labeling her unrecognizable and turning her face into a spectacle. What they didn't see was the emotional cost behind every decision. In later years, Carol spoke openly about the psychological pull of cosmetic surgery. She admitted that each procedure gave her a brief sense of control and validation, but it never lasted. The insecurity always returned, stronger than before. Surgery couldn't quiet it. Today, Carol Bryan's story serves as a cautionary tale. It reveals how easily the search for confidence can become an addiction, and how dangerous it is to measure self-worth by reflection alone. Because in the end, no procedure can fix what the heart hasn't healed. In the end, these stories remind us that chasing perfection often comes at a higher cost than we expect. Fame, money, and beauty can't stop time, and they can't guarantee happiness. True confidence isn't found in a flawless face, but in accepting who we are, scars and all. If this video made you think, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our next story.